Hey guys, what's up? It's all things MTG here. Today I'm back with another deck tech. So as we know, standard rotation is coming up. And obviously standard rotation, what this means is we're going to need new decks. So what I've come up today, and of course IXALAN has been completely spoiled now, and we pretty much know what the new standard is coming up. So I'm working on a control deck right now, but this is the deck that I've got in mind, and I've been waiting for the new set to come out because I really think this deck is a really um it's really different. It's really different to other decks, and it's really unexpected. So, and it's also if you, it's just over $100, and if you want to bring that money budget down, you can, or you have to you could just substitute Nyssa and disallow, and that will already bring the deck down under $100. So here we have is what the deck's called. I'm calling it Majestic Myriarch because the deck is based off this one card. And I was looking at spoilers, thinking about a new deck, and I saw this card, and I'm like, I'm going to build a deck around it. So I finally came up with this, and this is really unsuspecting because people don't expect you to play a deck like this. So here's its effect. So its power and toughness is equal to the number of creatures you control, but twice. So for example, if I cast it for 5, it will be a 2/2 with just itself. Another creature will be a 4/4, 6/6, and etc. And when the beginning of each combat, not just yours, if I control a creature with a keyword, for example, flying, it will gain that keyword, and that is the same for the pretty much majority of the keywords. So the keywords flying, first strike, double strike, death touch, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, and vigilance. Which and we can get this out in testing around an 8/8 on sometimes turn 4. So an 8/8 on turn 4 is amazing. So let's go towards the deck. Obviously we're going to run a playset of Majestic Myriarch. If I'm pronouncing words wrong, I'm always pronouncing words, I'm sorry. So we're going to run a playset of Ornithopters. Ornithopter is a flying creature. That is a keyword which will give, so sometimes, let's say turn 4, Majestic, and then you're like, turn 5, attack you for 8 in the air. That is amazing. So what we've got to help us, we've got, of course, Ornithopters, and we've got a bunch of 1-drops here. We're really cheap, and let's rearrange there. So, and then we're running 4 copies of Renage. It's just a 1-drop to us. We just want this out to buff our Majestic, and of course to give it Death Touch, which is another amazing keyword. And of course we're going to need creatures, and even though this is a legendary creature, I'm going to run the playset because it is just amazing. Because if you get this out on turn 1, maybe, I don't know, turn 1, and on turn 3 you make a 1/1, remember you're building up creatures, which is making your Majestic bigger. And however, there are no keywords, but it's still a creature creator. And if you're really at a bad position where you've got a bunch of creatures but you don't have Majestic, you can use its second ability, which you pay 5 mana, and you get an XX. Created a token with power toughness X, which is X is the number of creatures you control. Artifacts, for example, you have 5 creatures, but you don't have Majestic, so you you activate its ability, you get a 5/5. So you still got some board presence. Now we've got Ajani's Comrade, which is we are not playing Ajani, of course, but This is another 2 mana. This is a 2 mana 2/2, but it has trample. Trample, once again, is a really, really important keyword when you're having a really big creature, for example. Once again, for example, on turn 5, you're attacking with an 8/8 trample, which is amazing. So, and to help us get it out on turn 4 is Weaver of Currents. Weaver of Currents is a 3 mana creature, no keywords, but you can tap it to make 2 mana, which is really, really important when you're trying to get that Majestic out really, really quickly. So let's say, for example, turn 1, this, turn 2, Ajani, Ornithopter. That's already 4 creatures. Turn 3, Weaver of Currents, that's 5 creatures. Maybe another Ornithopter, another 1-drop, that's 6 creatures. And then on turn 4, you play Majestic, and then it is a 14/14. And then on turn 5, you're attacking with a 14/14 with Flying, Death Touch, and Trample. That is amazing. Yes, it can get removal spelled, but that is why we are running counter spells. We're running the playset of Censor, because Censor is really amazing, because they're obviously going to have to try and get this out in the late game, early game, sorry about that, and then, so they're going to be playing the removal. We're going to Censor, and of course Spell Pierce, which is once again amazing non-creature spell, which is obviously going to which is a new card from IXALAN, which is obviously going to target their kill spell. And here we have a copy of Lay Claim, because controlling enchanted permanent is just good. So maybe in late game, if we reach the late game, which we don't want, we can maybe take your opponent's thing and then use it against them. And that is why we have late game. And here we have Nyssa. Nyssa is amazing in our deck, and her price has dropped significantly due to the fact that she hasn't really seen play in the previous Pro Tours, previous big events, big tournaments. And she is amazing because if you can, let's say you don't have Majestic, and you've got a lot of stuff, so you go on turn 3, you have Nyssa though, so you go turn 3 Nyssa, yes, it's only got 1 loyalty, however, you +2 goes immediately to 3, and that Scry 2 is going to help you search for Majestic, and then its 0 ability is amazing. Its 0 ability will allow you to look at the top card of your library. If it's a land or a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of loyalty counters, which pretty much all we need is 3, unless you've want to hit Majestic, it's going to allow you to put that card straight onto the battlefield. Let's say, for example, we'll go turn 3 Nyssa, Scry, you have Majestic on the field, but it's currently small, it doesn't have trample or flying, and then you activate Nyssa, hit an Ornithopter, boom, go to combat, Majestic gains flying, attack in the air, and for the amount of power depending on the amount of creatures you control, and which will really help us a lot. And of course her ultimate, untap to target lands you control, they become 5/5 elementals creatures with flying and with haste, and they're still lands. This can sometimes finish off the game. Say you've went Majestic, you've attacked for 10, and you just need to get through more, or maybe your Majestic dies, and you Nyssa, and you play Nyssa, you ultimate, and you attack for 10. That is amazing once again. This is why Nyssa is so good in this deck. And here we've got lands now. So looking into the lands, we've got 4 copies of Endless Sands, sorry about that. Yes, it taps for colorless, but let's say this is once again another way to save Majestic, which is really really what we need to do in this deck. Because if we don't have Majestic out, um, our ways of winning is really, really low. So what it does is I can pay 2 mana, tap it, exile a creature I control, I control, exile target creature we control, you control, and that's gonna be targeting Majestic. And let's say your opponent's like, murder, whatever. You're Majestic, and you're just like, I'll activate my Endless Sands, I'll exile it, and then on the turn after that, you can sack Endless Sands and return Majestic onto the battlefield, which is amazing sometimes when you really, really need to save Majestic, which is really what we need to do in this deck. We've got Oasis, the green Oasis, pay 1 life, taps for colorless. You can pay 1 life, taps for green. That's not really what we care about. What matters is the sack ability, which allows us to pay 2 green and 1 of anything, and target creature gets +3/+3. Once again, in a position where we're trying to finish people off and Majestic is just not enough, we can sack it, give Majestic a buff, and then that sometimes could win us the game. And we've got the fast lands, the fast land, the green, blue fast land. We've got 3 islands, and we've got 4 forests, because obviously a lot of our cards are green. And we've got 3 evolving wilds, just to fix up mana sometimes when we're in trouble, because green is obviously super easy to get. Our green source, there is just loads of green sources. So that is the main deck. In the sideboard, what we're doing is we're pretty much just completely turning our deck into a control deck. So we've got 2 copies of Negate, which is obviously going to stop other enemy control decks. For example, we're gonna and there this is surprisingly, even though it's mana cost, because we have Weaver of Currents and it's instant speed draw card as well. Destroy target artifact of enchantment is really pretty good right now, considering what we've saw from IXALAN. So that draw card obviously is amazing. Drawing a card, that's amazing. And a playset of Disallow. So once again, if we're up against let's say fast but kind of slowish decks, but they've got a lot of removal, we're gonna board Disallow in. We're gonna make our deck pretty much into a control deck that just has a not as big but still okay size Majestic to win us the game. We've got another copy of Late Claim. Once again, this is for late game plays, as if we do end up versing getting to late game, you think we'll board this in. And we've got Essence Scatter, which I think I forgot to talk about before in the main deck, which is, once again, we are trying to work towards a Majestic, and in the early game we can't really deal with enemy creatures that well, so we're gonna need Essence Scatter to help us counter those relevant creatures. Once again, we're versing if we're playing against creature based decks, we're gonna board Essence Scatter in against them, which is once again amazing. And we've got 3 copies of Glimmer of Genius. This really is in a control game. If you're versing against control late game plays, you're going to want Glimmer, because it's going to generate you card advantage, which is really important in the late game. And the energy is just unused. And here we've got Ripjaw Raptor, another card from IXALAN, and what this does, it's a 4 mana 4/5. Honestly, to me, that's already amazing. And what it does, it's when it has Enrage, which means whenever it is dealt damage, you draw a card. And this, once again, is gonna get boarded in against sometimes aggro. You can board in against midish aggro decks which it will help us on turn 4. Once again, late game decks, when we need threats, we need to get more threats, this will help us a lot. So that is the deck, Majestic Myriarch. Tell me what you think about it. In testing, this is really, really cool, and once again, it's only costs slightly over $100, and if you want to bring it down to budget, under 100, that's easily done by taking out Nyssa and Disallow, and substituting the card of your choice. So, this is All Things MTG, signing off. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to leave a like, and if you haven't yet, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.